Today is Anand's birthday, so let us all wish him a fantastic year ahead. May the Gurus bless you with whatever that you desire, and may you grow spiritually as well as worldly.
Shambhu, thank you, everybody.
Om Namah Shivaya Anant ji. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All the blessings.
We won't ask your age, but I know it is not young.
I'm not going to give it out either.
Oh, wonderful. So with that, hopefully you stay as much as possible. I know you have to. He told me that he has to go to dinner outside, but maybe you can have some headphones while you're driving or traveling in Bangalore. It takes quite a long time to reach another place. So once more, many, many happy returns.
Shambhu, thank you. Thank you,
And we will
Thanks so
start
much.
the program.
Thank you.
Okay. Start with a small prayer. Shri Shambho Ramanatha Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murtihi Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Gurur Kripa. Adesh, Alak Adesh.
Alak Adesh, Guruji.
I'd like to share a small picture. I hope you're able to see it. Can you see this? Can everyone see this? There are two abstract images. Okay. Now, one of them, out of these two, one of them is called Kiki, and the other one is called Boba. Kiki and Boba. Now, everybody here, I want you to type which one do you think, the one which is looking like a star, what can it be called? And the other one, what would you call it? Just type here so I can see. And please mute. Kishore Kumar has logged his entire, I think, window because we are not able to see anything. Kishore Kumarji, if you're around, hello, namaste. Have we met? Let me see your face. It's very small here. Okay. So, which one is what? A lot of people typing. Let me read.
There is 3 new people. Vijay is one.
Vijay, can you show yourself before we go forward? I can only see if you open your. Oh, I'm not able to see. I don't know why. Because maybe I'm presenting. Vijay Kumar, hello, namaste.
Namaste,
Yes.
Guruji.
Now I remember we met at the Arkeshwara temple. Yes.
Arkeshwara temple.
Arkeshwara temple, yes. Yes. I remember Swapna ji also. I said Swapna sadhana is a very important part of being a Natha Rishi. Praveen Nair. Welcome. I can't see him. Praveen, yeah, welcome. So I wanted to see what the response was. Boba is second. First one is Kiki. Second one is Boba. Kiki, K-I, Kiki. And Professor Puneet Visaria. Hello, welcome. Okay. So most of you think that the first one with the star is to be named Kiki, and the second one, with a slightly curved ending, should be called Boba. You'll be surprised to know there was a worldwide test that was research that was conducted, and 98% of the people responded exactly the way you responded. Everybody wanted to call the first thing, let me share that again, the first design or the first shape as Kiki. Everybody wanted to call this one as Kiki and this one as Boba. Amazing, isn't it? So what does this show? this shows us the underlying interdependence, the underlying connectedness, the underlying unity behind all our thinkings. You can actually Google this later on after this small session. You can go and see the entire research is published. If you just go and type Kiki and Boba experiment, you will come to know. So with very simple techniques, we know that we are all connected. There's this ancient question, which is, how do we know what I see or what I understand is exactly the same that you see or understand? And the answer to that is given in the Bharatiya texts, in the Indian/Southeast Asian, spiritual works, that we are all connected. The deeper we go, the more the connection, and that is why everything appears to be the same. Anyway, that we'll not go too deep into it because we have to catch up. There are a lot of new people who have come in. Let me tell you that I have finished 2 other sessions before this, and 2 other sessions before this. And let me, 1 second. I cannot give you, please mute the entire detail, but here is the overview. We spoke about the levels of consciousness from the uninitiated to the Dakshinamurti. We spoke about the Pramatra, or the person who is getting the cognition from Jagrita Avastha to Swapna Avastha to Sushupti to Turiya and Turyatita, and Sadashiva, Ishvara, Shiva, Moksha, Adishakti, Natha, etc. We also spoke about the different types of initiations, dikshas, that are given in the Natha Sampradaya, from GururUpayah, which you're attending, to Anugraha Diksha, to Upanayanam, to Yogi Diksha, Darshani, Avatarana, and Atma Diksha. Also, we spoke about some esoteric sadhanas, GururUpayah, Anavupayah, Shaktopayah, Shamavupayah, and Anupayah. And there are some siddhis that come along after finishing each of these sadhanas at different levels. And we spoke about these levels. Please go and see the previous 2 videos of GururUpayah. You will understand the whole thing. Also, how I met my Guru, Adishakti Natha, when I asked, the only time I have ever spoken to him, and I asked him if he also has a Babi, and then out of himself, I saw Shakti coming out. Of course, for us, Babaji, Guruji, Adishakti Natha is Shiva himself, shown to us, given darshan as Adishakti Natha. What is the path of Rishikula? Awakening the divine self through the 5 dikshas. We went in depth in the first part from Guru's grace, and we went into the dikshas themselves. I spoke about all these GururUpayah to Anupayah, just to bring back what we had done in a different format. We will start from here today. You're here at GururUpayah because none of you are right now traveling on the path with us. Of course, some of you could be advanced yogis, or you might have taken diksha from other sampradayas. Let's see if we can, collaborate somewhere. So at the end of this session, like every other session, I'll be sharing a small mantra. This mantra gives you the resonance or the connection with the tradition. And we ask you to do the japa of this mantra, to chant this mantra mentally for 3 weeks, to see if there is a real connection or you're just window shopping, which is fine, because at the end, if you stay till the end of this particular session, you will definitely gain so many invisible gifts that come through the parampara from the gurus. And the second, we spoke about the preparation or the pre-initiation state, which is called the Anugraha Diksha, which is where I think most of you are. That is why you are here. You have been chosen to be here because there must be some sort of a connection karmically amongst us. That is why we are all here. We call this the ashrita, or the chosen by the gurus, right? And from here onwards, if you decide to grow, if you decide to develop your internal self, become a rishi, become a yogi, how would you go about? We call, that sort of a period where both of us test each other, because no guru is perfect for everyone. So I need to know if I can guide you. You need to know if I am the person for you, and I need to know if you are the person who can be guided. That doesn't mean that I am any less or you're any more. It is just that we might not be vibrating in the same symphony, which is all right. And you could move on and find somebody else with whom you resonate. Here we, after the Anugraha Diksha, which usually takes about 3 to 6 months, because I have spoken to you in detail what happens. I told you how we move from Mooladhara, and then we go through the Tapascharya or the Tapakriya, where you heat up your body so that your emotional blockages can be removed. And in case you decide that this is the way for you, and we find that, yes, you are. See, most of you who are coming here must have already had some sort of a spiritual inclination, if not an actual initiation. Then we go through something called an Upanayanam, where the tapas actually increases. And I was given a dasanama, not necessary that everybody should take it, but I was given the name Sri Ramadasa. It's always easy to visualize the dasatva of the Ishtadeva that you desire to be, because that would be your natural course of progression, right? And once the probation is done, then you kind of get a membership into the Natha Rishi Kula, where the Shakti Patha, or the work at, see, all these three, the first three, GururUpayah, and the preparation part is all in the Jagrata Avastha, which you consider to be the awakened state. Right now, if I ask you, are you awake? Are you awake? Just type Ala Kadesh AA or something, so I know you're awake and I've not put you to sleep. Yes, Ala Kadesh, wonderful. So most of the sadhana in the first three phases or levels is in the Jagrata Avastha, in the waking stage. But of course, you also have a Swapna Avastha, or the dream state, okay, which is also very real. It might not be, material or a materialistic word, but nevertheless, it is real, because it is made up of your thoughts. And then we initiate you into working in the dream state, or the Swapna Avastha. Once, this is when you really become the yogi. And, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the yogi is one who is awake even when everybody else is asleep. So which means to say you're awake in your sleep also. And it's a very simple technique. It's not even very difficult, which can be achieved within 6 months of your completing the Jagrata Avastha awareness mode. Once you become aware of yourself in the Jagrata Avastha, you can become aware of yourself in the dream state. And of course, then to become a complete member, you need to have the Shakti Patha. After the Shakti Patha, the Shiva Patha. The Shiva Patha is where you start understanding that everything has an opposite. We have spoken all this, that's why I'm rushing through this. And where you're able to see things as they are. For example, now if you look outside, you'll probably see there's some darkness, which we call as night, isn't it? But would night have any existence without day? What if it was just day all along? Night doesn't mean anything, day doesn't mean anything. So you start understanding that everything exists in pairs. Everything comes in twos. And you, the third one, who is observing this. If you're able to sink into that observation seamlessly, into the gap that exists between all opposites, the story of Narasimha is to be recalled if you want to understand this, how this works. Hiranyakashipu, the demon, had a boon. that he couldn't be killed either during the day, during the night, neither inside, outside, not by a man, not by an animal, not by a weapon, not by a weapon. So many. Please do not unmute yourself. So Hiranyakashipu had this almost invincible boon, yet out of a pillar was born Narasimha, half man, half animal, because the Shivatva, or here what we call as Hari or the Narayana Tattva, exists even in the gaps. And how to work on the gap itself is when people enter into the Darshana Rishi state, where you get into the gaps between awakened and dream state, between dream and sushupti, between sushupti and turiya, between turiya and turiyatita, and other gaps which exist in the sandhya, which exists between different states or levels of consciousness. Of course, this is all that we had spoken in the last two sessions. There is also beyond the 5 dikshas, beyond these 5, there are also 5 stages. This is running away. Of course, this is when you go towards Paramashvatvam. If you remember, in the last 2 sessions, I had spoken about 8 levels, but here I'm giving you 5 more steps because 2 steps are integrated. Let's say you have become Yogi Raja, or you have reached the state of Maharishi. Of course, I cannot give you the exact details of how it will work, but basically you are going to be working with the avatarana or the Vishwakriya, because after you've reached the maximum level of, let's say, of Advaita, then you need to come back into this dualistic world. What is the point if whatever you are acquiring spiritually cannot be applied in this worldly materialistic reality that you exist right now in this space and time? Because we can talk about all the lofty siddhis that you will achieve, but if it cannot be applied to this world, to this real world, then it is of no use. So before we take you there, that is why so much of importance is given to the opening of your heart brain, to the connection of your gut with your heart and your head. We have spoken all this. I'm not going to repeat. You can go back and watch the other 2 sessions. And what happens here is, once you reach the state of being in the Ishvara Tattva, then the work becomes esoteric. Esoteric is when all the work is happening only inside of you, and we can only see your behavior, we can only see the siddhis that you carry, in the sense only the effect of it, and even that effect is not in a way which will affect your karma, because you have at this point of time transcended the karma realm, and the transcendence again happens of all those things which you adhere to or which adheres to you, like maya, like karma, and the anavatva, or the what you think right now as the individual self that you possess. And of course, from Maharishi, you go into a Siddha Rishi. Then one moves into the Mahasiddha realm, which is integral and it is metaphysical. And then, of course, people get in a lot of siddhis, and these siddhis again cannot be used for your own self, because at this state you have become one with the hive, if you want to call it so. You have become one with all those astral gurus, and you just see yourself as a medium. And then, of course, there is the cosmic, after siddhi, there is the cosmic universality or the cosmic consciousness, which is of a Brahma Rishi or a Siddhanatha. And of course, then there is the Mokshanatha, or the, beyond the Param Tattva, what we call as the Anama, that cannot be named. At the Mokshanatha level, you will encounter Sri Adishakti Natha, the gurus who are combined, the male and the female, the poles come together. You're able to see the Shivatva and the Shakti both together as one. So that is a brief journey of what happens, how it happens. What really happens, we call as the Kriya Yantra. So at every level, what happens? There are 4 things that are simultaneously happening. I remember somebody asking me this question in one of the other sessions. You know, when you become connected to the higher self, it is like you're giving birth to yourself. I've spoken about this and explained what Dvija means and how you are born physically from the lower chakras, and when you actually, fuse or unite from the higher chakras, you give birth to yourself, to your higher self. So somebody was telling me, and I find that it's very funny. You'll probably like to know. It's like trying to find out if I'm related to my ancestors. I mean, what we are doing actually eventually looks so absurd that we are trying to find out if we are related to our ancestors. If you're to be here, I was reading somewhere that 5,000 people have had to have existed in the last 400 years for you to be here now. Can you believe that? Each one of you can trace back 5,000 ancestors in the last 400 years. How? Like you have 2 parents, have 4 grandparents, have 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. So by the time you reach 5,000, you've gone 400 years in the past. So if you try to go back to a stage where life itself, the cognitive life, sprung, you will come to the stage of Sri Adishakti Natha. You'll find the singular male and the singular female existing in one body, in one self. So to find out how I'm related to my gurus, how I'm related to my ancestors, we take you through the Atma Jnana, that is knowing the self. Atma is Atma, that which is me right now. Atma Jnana, knowing the self, which is awakening. And like I said in the past sessions, awakening has to happen at one of these 7 levels, having acquired the human body, right? There's a famous saying, how many of you know this? If you know this, please type yes. We are not humans having divine experiences, but we are divine beings having human experiences. Do you agree with me? Yes. Vivek, Chaitanya ji, yes. Saurav Dubey, yes. We are divine beings who are having human experiences, right? That is the Atma Jnana, that is the awakening. You can wake up at any of these levels. Then there is the Adhyatma Vidya, knowing the Supreme Self. See, how do you know? Whatever we are talking right now is all the Adhyatma Vidya. How do you proceed? How do you grow? How do you develop yourself to become the Shiva? I've been repeatedly asking you to consider the notion that you are nothing but Shiva, because there is nothing which exists which is not Shiva. So unless you can accept, give permission to yourself to accept that you are Shiva, Shivoham, 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 you cannot proceed. You cannot proceed to grow internally. And how do you do that? The step-by-step process is what we have explained in the last 2 sessions. And this is the Adhyatma Vidya. We call it involution, or the process of involuting. Involuting means going within. See, from the Shiva Tattva, the whole evolution goes forward. It converts itself into the Panchakanchakis, the Trimalas, the antakarana, the manas, buddhi, chitta, hankara. Then it moves into the tanmatras, the pancha mahabhutas, the panchendriyas, the jnanendriyas. Then hits a wall, literally, in the prithvi tattva, in the solid state of consciousness. And from the solid state of consciousness, on the way back, we have acquired the Manava, the human form. It is the Shiva consciousness which is moved right to the dead end, which is stone Prithvi, and is coming back. And remember, the momentum is taking it back like a pendulum. All you have to do is get on the bandwagon, and the momentum itself will take you back to Shivatva. The problem is, having acquired the human form, having got the power of discrimination, we also start doubting our own Shivatva. We start creating the resistance. We start enjoying the carnal pleasures. We start enjoying our own mala, and we start rolling in it. So all you have to do is to let nature take its course and take you back into the Rishitva and Shivatva later on. Okay, the going back from human towards the Shivatva, towards the divine, we call as involuting or involution. All our programs are nothing but involution processes. Okay, then there is a Shuddhi, which is purification of the malas that we have acquired. I often give the example of how a child sits in its own, pee and poo and starts playing with it. I'm sure all of us has played with our own urine when we were kids. And you think you have grown up, but at the universal level, you're still playing with your own malas, the mala of Maya, of separation between me and Shiva, the mala of karma, that I am doing something by myself, and it is not the divine which is working through me. The third mala, which is that there is an I which exists separately or differently from Shiva himself, right? So we need to cleanse these malas. Cleaning at every level, at every step is important. For example, Chaitanya Bharati Ji has undergone the Bhuta Shuddhi. All the 5 Panchamahabhutas that exist in his body have been cleansed, and he's ready to go to the next level. When he goes to the next level, again there is cleaning. When you go, for example, if we look at the whole planet Bhumi as one consciousness, as humanity plus all the other sentient beings, then right now you will see that we are so divided in the name of religion, nation, color, creed, culture. All these divisions have to finally be healed, purified. We are not the leftist communist way by eliminating everything and making everything blank, but by celebrating the existence of each one of these memes. If you go into the study of memetics, you will understand that these are the tattvas that come out. These are the emanations which come out. This shirt wants to show its, rusty color. And it is expressing that color because it is absorbing everything else. And what it is reflecting is what it wants to show to Shiva. Who is the watcher? Who is the witness? It is Shiva. So every existing item in your brain, design dashboard, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So everything that exists is exhibiting itself to the light of your consciousness. So the higher you grow in consciousness, the more you will be able to see the interconnectivity, the interdependency, as well as appreciate every pluralistic element of this unity. Right? So the higher you go, the more you're able to do this. And of course, because you're able to do this, how do you verify? What is the check and balance? How do you know that Gurunatha is not lying to you and making up all these things in his head? By three things. One, you will yourself verify everything I say as you progress in your sadhana. Two, we will be quoting from the agamas which have come from Shiva himself, and these are very ancient in the linear time sense. They are at least 3,000 years old. Even conservative estimates give 3,000 years, but we say it is anadi, it comes from Shiva, it is timeless, it is sanatana. At any given point of time, they exist. Third one is the Hitavachana coming from an enlightened master. So we will be looking at all three relevant checks and balances to see whether what I'm saying is true or not. And ultimately, the others around you will be able to see the siddhis manifest. Remember, these siddhis are not for you. They are not to get stuck there. These are for others to observe. You know, when I started my spiritual journey, I told myself, if I don't even know if I have any siddhis, if ever these kind of siddhis come to me, let all of them be behind my back. Let me never be aware of what is happening and how people. The whole point of getting siddhis is to benefit all the other Shivas who need to reach there. You yourself, me, I was a lower Shiva myself. There is nothing except Shiva. Remember that. Well, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the dukkha. I enjoyed the mundane activities. I sometimes even enjoyed a good smoke and a drink. But now I understand all these pleasures are nothing. The real ananda is the nectar which is always flowing. The eternal jyoti of the Sanatana is always there. That Shivatva is always there. Go take a bath, take a shower in that light anytime you want. In front of that permanence, all other pleasures seem really irrelevant. So you will start understanding the jumps in your consciousness by yourself. The easy way of knowing this is to ask yourself if you have ever been in love. If yes, just type yes, just the letter yes. So I know that I have a lot of other lovers here amongst us. Tanish Shukla is walking quite a bit. Yes, yes. I see only 2-3 people. Why? Okay. Yes. Now the question to ask is, how do you know you're in love? If somebody were to ask you, even if your beloved, if your wife, your girlfriend were to ask you, show me your love, it's impossible. You just know it. Tell me how you know you're in love. You just know it. It's a knowing. So these levels are swatah pramana, atma pramana. You will understand it by yourself. And like I said, the advanced portion is guided by the Siddha Sangha, which is operating beyond our earthly realms. And right now, you would say, is there any scientific proof? Then I'll have to tell you that, if I were to tell you 20 years back that we would all be sitting in different cities and talking to each other through something which is just like a screen in front of you. At the same time, there are people who have joined us from abroad who are in a different time zone, different space, different time. You're all connected to this internet. Isn't this a wonderful technology? Design dashboard, please mute again. Isn't it a wonderful technology? 20 years back, none of us would have believed this. 20 years from now, let me assure you, just 20 years from now, everybody will become aware of the higher schools that exist. And many such Rishikulas with different names. We don't have to, have any sort of a copyright of the knowledge that is flowing through the Akasha Ganga. It is going to reach every one of you from some source. I just want to say we are here first, at least in India, but I know that a similar school or schools exist in Tibet. They exist in some of the shamanic tribes in Central and South America. And a large part of the Sufi and some of the mystical Christian schools which have gone underground because of the fear of persecution by the church have also been relaying the same, like Kabbalah, which is a Jewish mysticism. They've all been relaying the same truth of the eternal masters through various different sanghas, organizations, and the like. Okay, so basically, what I want you to understand is that the Turiya Yantra works round and round at every level. So from the lowest level where you are right now, which you think is the Jagrata Avastha, where you're awake, we actually awaken you here so that we can take you upwards. And all these four things have to happen simultaneously. You have to awaken to the state or the level where you are. You have to do the involution process. You have to do the involuting. And you have to cleanse yourself, clean yourself, shuddhikarana, purify yourself. And then the only thing you have to do is to serve spontaneously perfect nature of the state of being. Like I said, human is just a potential. We know that there are Buddhas, there are Shankaracharyas, there are Madhvacharyas, there are great divine beings in this human body, and at the same time, there are people like Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin, Mao, real Rakshasas who have also survived and lived in this human body. So it is just a potential. You can go up, you can fall down, you can go and reach the heavens, become Indra, become Buddha, become Shiva, you can become anything, or you can flow down and get into the Narakiya, the hellish existence. And well, it is your choice. We have had 84 lakh births before reaching this human life. And it is my job, my duty to tell you, don't waste this life. Just one last point, after which I'm open for questions. People have asked me, how long does this take? How long does it take to become Shiva? It just happens in a flash. Shivoham, I'm Shiva. It's just a knowing. It can happen like that, like a flash. It can take many lives, it can take many janmas to reach there. But this is a very abstract, mystical thing that you're saying, Gurunatha. Okay, I'll give you a more worldly answer. The first stage of the 5 Dikshas, not the beyond Dikshas, but to reach, the stage of a Maharishi or a Yogi Raj, with our guidance. Now, I have to be a little, selfish and say with our guidance, probably in about 5 years. Okay. But if you were to do it on your own, it could happen in 5 days, 5 minutes, 5 seconds. It could take 5 lifetimes or maybe never. We don't know that. But of course, we have put together a path which should take about 5 years with the right guidance. And of course, you will have to progressively give more and more time. You can start with 20 minutes right now. Progressively, maybe it's not exactly time consuming that way, where you have to sit. See, for us, meditation is everything that you do. If you're watching this webinar, you're meditating. If you're brushing your teeth, you're meditating. If you're walking, you're meditating. If you're eating, you're meditating. If you're making love to your partner, you're meditating. Anything that you do can be made into an object of meditation, including your breath, your blinking of the eyes, anything. But of course, we are going with the sure shot formula of the Kundalini Yoga, which moves from your Prana Kundalini to your Chit Kundalini to the Para Kundalini. Based on that, which will augment your so-called reality or real existence here in this world, it should take about 5 years. With this, I will give a small pause to my voice and open up this session for questions. Somebody left. I guess they were not interested, but I'm open for any questions. I know the people who have come in only in this session might find it a little too fast because I have spent a lot of time in the last 2 sessions explaining how this works. So yes, please go ahead and ask away.
Gurunatha, Jai Shri Ram. This is Sughosh Nigale.
Jai Jai Shri Ram.
Gurunatha, I have
You
a
can switch on
question.
your
Yeah,
camera.
I have some issues with the camera, so I'll
Okay.
be only audibly. I have a question whether our past karmas do impact on this journey of Shivatva, or is it immune to the past karmas?
Yes, brilliant. See, what Sughosh is asking is, do karmas play a part? Of course they do. And because of our karmic connections, you and I have kind of, interwoven in this space-time. Because we have come and we've got connected somehow, that is because of both our karmas. Now, how much of the guidance from the, Natha Rishi Parampara can reach you is again up to your decision right now. But once you're able to establish a contact by chanting the mantra that I'm going to give you in some time at the end of this session, you can verify for yourself whether there is a real connection or it was just some surface level thing, where some worldly exoteric guidance was required and not the esoteric work at all. So we can decide by chanting it for 3 weeks. There are a lot of people here who have already chanted the mantra for the last 2 weeks. I'll tell you what the mantra is at the end of the session. And my request to you is, all of us have spent so much time going to the school, to the universities, learning from books, from other gurus, from our own experience, especially from our spouse. So there's so many types of learnings that we've had. Why not give just 3 weeks, not more than 5 minutes, because the entire chanting will not take more than 5 minutes. Just give 3 weeks or 5 minutes and find out if there is any real connection. Then you will know if karmically, by karma, you are meant to flow with this Natha Rishi Sampradaya or not. In my first class, I had also explained what a parampara is, how the parampara survives. We know that image of a leaf on which Krishna floats during the pralaya. So I had likened the veins of the leaf on which Krishna floats. Krishna means the akarshana, the attraction force, on which, and you'll see that there are a central median vein and there are branches, many veins, even in that leaf, which is afloat in the pralaya. So these veins, the leaf itself is the parampara, and these different veins are each of these traditions. So every tradition expresses itself when the time is right. In the words of the great Madhvacharya, anadi kalato vrittaha samayaha pravahataha. All the sampradayas, all the intellectual knowledge are always flowing. Samayaha pravahataha. They reach like a tide to the shore of human consciousness when the time is right. I hope I have answered your question. I see Chaitanya Bhartiji had raised his hand. Yes, please.
Yes, Guruji.
Yes.
Please allow me to touch your divine feet. Thank you.
Shambho.
I have a query that Kabir or Nanak, saints like them, they also probably realize to that height of consciousness about which you are now explaining. But it looks like an art, like playing a flute. that they are singing and the music is coming out. But now what you are teaching, it is more of a technology, a guided map sort of presentation, and I mean, it's so mathematical. It really is shaking my concept that spirituality was easy. I'm sorry.
No, no, spirituality is very simple. Easy or not depends on how you want to make it. Your question is brilliant. So you're asking, if you look at music itself, because I remember, I think with you or someone, I had shared how my own gurus have told me that each of the chakras in my own body should be made into big holes connected to the Vishwa Chakra or the Vishwa Mata. And whatever comes out of this is like the basuri, the flute of Krishna. So whatever comes out of this existence right now is Krishna playing his flute or the Vishwatma playing his wisdom. And if you look at music itself, you will see that music is all about symphony, about different pitch, different resonances being played in an order, right? Now, if you were to give, for example, let's say you have a synthesizer and you give the synthesizer to a kid, okay, and the kid will go, tan, 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 tan. There's sound being made, but there is no harmony in it. There is no resonance. It's not music. So how do you learn music? Even though music is so abstract, you go through sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. Right. So there are these steps, and you have to learn the steps before you can play or sing. I'm giving you the musical notations, and remember, because it is a symphony, the 7 steps or the 8 steps which go higher is actually mirrored by 7 or 8 steps which is below us also. So to make this world go round, you need to have both. But right now, the dark forces, if you want to call it that, have overtaken, and we might not have human consciousness capable of continuing its growth because we might not have a planet in the future. The speed at which humans are destroying the planet, we all need to wake up, smell the roses, and tell each other that I am going to connect to nature, because whatever training we are giving you is also training to be natural. That is what we mean by spontaneously aware, not with any predetermined goals. Okay? Of course, that
Yes,
also
Guru.
comes in your human thing. So we are going to play the music. Chaitanya Bharati ji, we are going to play in the music. Let's learn the upper notes. You've already crossed the lower notes to have reached here. So
Yes, Guruji.
I'm
Thank you.
sure very soon we will be playing a beautiful symphony.
I'm really obliged. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Allah
you.
Kadesh.
Praveen Nair has raised his hand. Yes, please. Shambhu, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste, Shambhu Ramanatha. First
So,
time I'm meeting you.
yeah, we are meeting for the first time.
Yes.
So I had this question, like you already mentioned about being close to nature. So we live in I mean, the industrial revolution and all that things that happen, right? I mean, the spiritual world is mostly about energy, vibration, frequencies, and we are away from nature. We don't live close to nature, so our bodies are work differently than the rishis who lived thousands of years ago, right? So my question is, we live under these artificial lights, we use all these kind of devices, the energies are very different from what it used to be. So in the plan that you just put out, I don't know the details of it because this is the first time I'm sort of attending. In the plan that you sort of put out, and then you have a path to lead to the siddhis. So do you really think people like me or us who are not very close to nature, we live in the urban setup, we are always in in pollution, in the lights, and in different kinds of frequencies and energy and all that, we will really be able to, reach, or at least get onto that path and even reach something of that in the view of all the technology that is around, and the energies and the frequencies are very different. So I just wanted to know.
Yes, thank you for the question, Praveen, because your question has the basis that anything that is man-made is artificial. Okay, me and my Devi Moima, we keep having this conversation a lot. Okay, now if you consider human to be a part of nature, then what we are doing is just an extension of nature itself, and it is in nature's own, guna quality to destroy itself, because we are heading towards destruction. However, I am compassionate, and I feel that every human intrinsically knows the dharma. He knows what is the right, he or she knows what is the right thing to do. And all this is ingrained in us. Okay? But before you become aware of the destruction that you can cause to nature itself, I think, like kids, we need to play with what we are capable of doing. And if you look at anything, for example, let's take a helicopter, which is a technological so-called advancement by humans. If you ask the inventor of a helicopter, where did you get inspiration? He'll say, from a dragonfly. So whatever we have done, we've actually mimicked the nature in certain, what we call as a human tendency. We have taken everything from nature, we've got inspired, and we have created something which resembles what is created by nature or what exists in nature itself. Created is also not the right word. Isn't it just a question of time before you and I and half the world at least will wake up and say, listen, we cannot improve on nature. What we are doing with these artificial lights, with all the technology, everything is actually irrelevant, because the real technology is going within us. The real happiness, the real knowledge, the real knowing is actually within us. So before we can reach, as humanity, before we can reach that level, where people will say, hey, listen, we can't improve on perfection, and perfection already exists. We have to go through this. And it is us, you and me and everybody around here, everybody who's online, we have to grow one notch up and pull everybody who's not up there yet and give them this technology and say, listen, you don't need artificial lights. You don't need artificially grown food. You don't need so many things. See, I stay very close to a village. We are going deeper into a village. In fact, we are shifting into in the middle of a wildlife sanctuary, probably by next year. And we ourselves are finding it very difficult to go and live without electricity or whatever creature comforts that we are used to right now. Yet, a few moments there in the midst of nature, oh, I'll assure you, is like eons outside in this so-called civilized world. So, since you missed, let me go back and see if I can share the thing, because we had covered this already in the previous sessions. But because you asked this question, let me see if I can, go back. And we went through a very detailed, let me see if you can see here, number 6, you have something called the Vana Sadhana. So if you cannot unite with nature, further progress is stopped. You must ask yourself the question, even though we have what we call as Vanavasis and tribes and all that. But if you look at the Indian history, and if you ask yourself, who were the most advanced forest dwellers? The answer would be the rishis. So you need to have the appreciation of nature, and you have to have the appreciation of consciousness, and they have to come together in a single body to be able to enjoy both. What we are doing now is we are giving consciousness to matter through artificial intelligence and these computers and mobiles and all that. We are giving intelligence to silicon. It is like Murti Puja, if you ask me. We are trying to code into matter, while nature had coded herself onto carbon, which is also matter. But what is the difference between carbon and silicon? I think this is a very deep subject in itself, but the small answer to your question is we need to be connected with forests, we need to be connected with our environment wherever you are. And slowly, see, for example, when I was in the early years of my own sadhana, I found that everything in nature has a kind of eat and be eaten property. For example, one man's food is another man's waste or another species waste. For example, we breathe out, carbon dioxide, and we breathe in oxygen. So there is a tree, which is another species, which is breathing out oxygen and taking carbon dioxide. So our waste is its food, and the waste of the tree is our food. Everything in nature is like that. Now, if we could take something like this and apply it onto our own lives, to our management system, our political system, everywhere. It's a very simple thing, isn't it? Can't we observe nature and put the same thing onto whatever we are doing? But we as a human race are not ready for it yet, because we are so marveling in our own invention, even though it is all copied from nature. Slowly, if I were to give you, this Divya Drishti, you will see that we are already in a perfect world in nature. It gives us food, it gives us protection, it gives us everything. The only thing that is lacking between a primitive being in the forest and advanced rishi is a level of consciousness. So it is going to happen, because either we wake up and understand that we are killing the nature outside by killing the nature inside of us. We wake up very soon, or nature will destroy us. I am told that we have only 4.5 years before the tipping point of climate change, after which it is impossible for humans to survive as they are. They might have to go through some mutation, modification, or they might be totally eradicated. So yes, we have to. We don't have a choice right now. Thank you, Praveen, for a beautiful question. Anybody else? No question? I don't know why this came. 1 second, please. Okay. Tanmay, yeah, go ahead. Tanishka, is it? Okay. Sorry, there's something which has popped up. Go ahead. Tanish Shukla. Please ask your question. Anybody else? Tanish Shukla is shy, I think. Anybody else? Any questions here?
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes. Now you
It is
are.
a bit, different question than what we are discussing. You know what was happened in Kedarnath? Thousands of pilgrims, thousands of divine souls were killed. Hello.
Yes.
So
I'm able to hear in Kedarnath something happened.
No, actually, in past, what happened in Kedarnath, because of flood and all that, many divine souls, many pilgrims were died because of that flood and all that. So why? I mean, I believe in God like anything. I went to number of places which belongs to this good vibrations and very, very in dense forest and all that. Why this God, cannot save this type of soul?
Very good. Beautiful question. Let me repeat the question for everybody here. Pilgrims have died in Kedarnath and other, religious places. So why does this happen? Why do good souls, religious souls, dharmic souls, who go into these pilgrimages die? Thank you for the question. Let me tell you, in South India, they say if you die in a pilgrimage, then you're very lucky. You're blessed that you have acquired a lot of merit, a lot of punya. The answer to your question, I want to give through a small story. May I share a story with you, Tanishji?
Please, sir. It will be, a prasad to us.
Wonderful. Now, I'm going to ask you another question similar to this and then give you the answer. The question is, we all know about Mahabharata. We know about the story of the fight between Pandavas and Kauravas and how, the Kauravas were the bad people.
Yeah.
You know this?
Yeah.
Yes, you know that. Now, you have to ask a question, but there were very good people like, Karna, Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Ashwatthama. So many good people on that side.
Yeah.
Right? But they were also killed.
But Guruji, they were on wrong path. Like
They were on wrong path.
Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitama, when the Draupadi was insulted, so they were seeing it in front of them. It was all the activity was going on.
But they were generally good people, right? They did.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. So let me give the answer to you. Then why did they die?
Yeah.
See, all the Mahapurushas have to be killed before Kali Yuga can set in. First question. Now, these are very good people, Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya and Karna and Ashwatthama. They're very good people. They are dharmic people. But they've done some mistakes. There is nobody who has an existence in the body who is completely pure. Okay? There is some sort of impurity. That is why we are still in the body. Remember this. Now, Krishna also has to go before Kali Yuga can come in. And Krishna says this, you'll find the answer in Bhagavatam, that these people cannot be killed by Rakshasas. See, the Pandavas, none of the heroes will die. So the Asuri Shakti, the dark forces in the Kauravas, cannot kill the Pandavas. But the people who are on the wrong side have to be killed by good people. It has to be the Pandava side, the side on Dharma, which has to kill the good people on the wrong side. You understand what I'm saying? So these Mahapurushas have to be killed by the army of Dharma. And that is why they are eliminated. Now, when you go on a pilgrimage, you are already surrendered to the higher consciousness. In fact, when are you supposed to go to a pilgrimage? Only under two circumstances. One, when you have gotten rid of all your worldly responsibilities.
Yeah.
Two, if you are a guide, if you are a guru, if you are a yogi, and you are connecting to the energy of that pilgrimage so that you can grow in your own consciousness. So people who went there, at least they should have finished all the responsibilities and they will be reborn according to their merit. But there is a blessing, there is grace because they went. The grace flows for two kind of people. First, people, this is grace without trying, okay? One, all those pilgrims who have gone to Punya Kshetras, we believe in Tirtha Kshetras, yes. And if you give more time, I will be able to explain to you why the energy of that place is so charged that they are immediately transported to their next level in their next birth, wherever they are. So it is a good. What is death? It's like changing your shirt, right? So they lose one body and gain another body which is higher. That is the first type. The second type of people who get this grace are soldiers on the path of dharmic war. We have in our own Rishikula some Bhairava, Bhairavi techniques which are meant for special forces who want to fight for dharma. In this world, in the other realms, which we will talk probably in another session. So this is why they are blessed into acquiring a higher birth. Okay. I hope this answers your question. Any other question? How much time do we have?
2 minutes.
We are overdue, is it? Okay. So any other questions, I'll be happy to answer maybe in the next session, or you can write to me or message Nirvedananda Natha. Nirvedananda Natha is not feeling well. And today he was not able to call many of the people, but I'm very thankful that he has been able to gather all of you, and I'm very thankful that you have also attended and stayed till the end. Vivek, one last question. Quickly.
Yeah, just it's not a question. I thought I will just share my views on the same doubt. So maybe you can correct if my understanding is wrong. Two things. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So one thing I felt is that souls never die. So it is just a journey from one life to next life or the other life. And because somebody died in a pilgrimage, it doesn't mean it is bad, because no one knows what happens to that particular soul. So its journey, its karma, how it is projected to the next life. Once we surrender to God, we just leave it at His feet and accept whatever happens. So
absolutely. You're absolutely right. Of course, once we go into our further, levels of sadhana, you will start recognizing that actually there is no such thing as a soul also.
yeah, okay.
There's only something called a linga sharira. It's a conglomeration of our karmas and our memories, which we carry from one body to another.
The human consciousness.
Yes. Okay. This is what we carry, and if you want to leave it, you can leave it anytime you want. But we say, why? Play the game.
Yeah.
Play the game of. I shared a small video with all of you the other day. Where I found a beautiful video. I don't know, some young boy has made this. He has made with different levels of philosophies, and he has given a gamification of the philosophy. I think I shared it with all of you, didn't I? Vivek, I don't know if you saw that. It's a beautiful video.
No, I have not seen. I'll go through that.
Okay, I will share it later with you. And of course, what we are playing is the highest level, which is the Natha Rishi Parampara or the Adi Shakti Natha Sampradaya. More on that next time. Thank you, everyone. It is now time to share the mantra with you. I want to know how many of you have chanted it for the last 2 weeks without a miss. Please type here, done or something like that. Just D. Go ahead. If it is 1 week, put just 1. I can understand if you have. Vivek says yes, done. Chaitanya Bhakti says yes. Only 2 people. We are seeing our connection. Anant has been doing it. The birthday boy, of course. Who else? Ajay Vajpayam has done. Only 3 people. Okay, the others start from today. Kamal Kumar ji has done from 3 weeks. Oh, that is good. If you have not started, start from today. Today being actually today, you are not supposed to start. Even though I'm going to give you the mantra, please start from tomorrow.
I've been doing it, but I was not. Yes, I will try to do.
Okay, Mohan Srivastava says I've been doing, but I'm not consistent. If you're not consistent, you have to start from 1. If you miss it for 1 day, then you start from, that would be 0, the day you've missed, and then you start from day number 1, and do it for 3 weeks, 21 days. It's not too long. The first week you're only to do it for 21 times. The second week, you have to do it 54 times. The third week, you're supposed to do it for 108 times early in the morning. As soon as you wake up, just as soon as you get up, sit on the bed, cross-legged, or if you want to put your feet down, you can do that. I will teach you a mudra, the Shakti mudra, hold the mudra, and then you do it. And or the other option is to do this at the very last thing that you do in your day, after you've brushed your teeth, after you've changed into your sleeping clothes, you're sitting on the bed. Do this on the bed. You don't even have to go and sit in a puja room and do it, but you can also do it in the puja room if you want to. There's no restriction. Minimum of 21 the first week, 21 times, minimum of 54 times the second week, and a minimum of 108 times the third week. We are doing this so you feel the connection to the Natha Rishi Kula, the tradition which is flowing through Sri Adi Shakti Natha, who is Shiva and Shakti fused together. And of course, you, because you are conscious of the fusion of Shiva and Shakti. So all three are united here, Shiva, Shakti, and you, in this mantra, and you're waking up the unity of all the three, the Shiva, Shakti, and your own Linga Sharira. Ultimately, you want to take the Shiva and Shakti outside of you and merge it in your own existence. So you receive the Shiva Tattva, the Shakti Tattva, and you remain elevated to the highest level that is possible in the human body. So that is the process. Now, the Shakti Mudra is done by folding the thumb like this and the first two fingers over it, like this. Okay, and then joining the ring finger and the little finger. This is the Jagrata mantra of bringing Adi Shakti Natha down, the Paramaguru, Shiva, fused with Shakti, and hopefully all those people. Nina ji, have you been doing the chanting?
I had to leave for some reason, so I have just joined again. I will see your recorded video.
Okay. The mantras are not there because we don't put it on the recorded videos.
Okay.
This is given only here.
Okay.
People here and online. And please do not share it till you have mastered it yourself.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, sure.
once you get the Adesh, then we'll
Yes.
go ahead.
Yes.
There was one last thing which I wanted to tell you. There is a very famous quote by Gurunatha, who's also one of our gurus. Antar Kaule Bahir Shaiva Lokachare Cha Vaidika. So how does this work? How does Rishi Kula work? Antar Kaule, inside we have the Kula of Shiva. We are all the children of Shiva. Bahir Shaive, outside we will look like we are. Kaula also means Shakti. Inside your Shakti, outside you look like Shiva. And Lokacharya, how are you going to behave in the world? Like a Vaidika.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. This is how the guidance is given for us. And with a final thank you for listening
Thank you.
so patiently and so lovingly, let's wind up with a small prayer. Om Aghorebhyo Ataghorebhyo Ghora Ghora Tarebhyaha Sarvebhyo Sarvebhyaha Sarva Sarvebhyo Namaste Sturudra Rupebhyaha. All the Shivas, Ghora, Aghora, Ghora, Ghora, all types of Rudras, my salutations to all of you. We will meet next week. Please get in touch with Nirvedanandanatha as soon as you're done chanting. His number is 8803861008, or you can get in touch with Chaitanya ji or any of us here. You're all one big family. Shambho Ranatha. Alak Adesh. Alak Adesh.
Alak Adesh. Om
Om Namah Shivaya.
Pranam. Pranam.
It has been wonderful, amazing. Om Namah.
Om
Shambho.
Namah Shivaya.
Om
Guruji,
Shambho.
I'll be in touch with Chaitanya Prabhu, and
Please.
I'll see how can he guide me. I'll be there definitely with him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Shambho.
you. Pranam. Shambhu Kripa.
Pranam.